Thanks so much for joining us for another edition of KFFB's Open Mic program. We do have Congressman French Hill with us. And Congressman, thanks so much for taking time and talking with us.
Bob, it's great to be with you. Thanks for the invite.
Well, a lot of things are going on nationwide, and we cannot talk without talking about the elephant in the room, and that's the protest. And protest, is nothing wrong with protest, but when you break a law, it becomes a riot, and that's illegal.
Well, look, justified protest is fully American and fully protected. Of course, all of us were shocked and horrified by the video from Minneapolis and the death of George Floyd. Clearly horrifying and clearly murder when you look at it, depending on your definition of murder. And so I understand the protesting, and I understand the built-up sense of just horror about it, years of frustration with police and community issues. But violence is just never justified. And nobody was better at talking about that than Dr. King when he urged all of his leadership in the 1960s to avoid violence, and telling his followers and all Americans who supported civil rights that only leads to, I think, what he called meaningless chaos. So I appreciate Governor Hutchinson working to keep Arkansans safe during these protests, and I urge people to follow the curfew and don't engage in this violence. And I don't condone it, and I hope they pay a price for it.
If you break the law, they should be arrested, and that's one way to stop the looting going on. And I did like one post that an Apple store says, we are tracking those phones you stole. There's a lot of that stuff going on. So
it's inexcusable. I think people they're sad, they're horrified by what happened to George Floyd, but you don't do anything to change social policy in this country, policing policy in this country, public policy in this country by looting, killing, vandalizing, burning, putting graffiti on public buildings like the Lincoln Memorial, the World War II monument, setting fire to St. John's Church. Come on. I mean, breaking in Little Rock, trying to steal an ATM, breaking out windows. There's just absolutely no excuse for that behavior.
No, and that's just the bad guys taking advantage of a crisis. Well, we've got a lot of things to talk about. June is here, and I believe that Congress is in session, and you guys have got some things you're going to be working on.
June is going to be a month where the committees are hard at work, working on the appropriations bills and working on the National Defense Authorization Bill. These are things that we do every year, plus a new highway bill. So the committees are hard at work on those priorities. Plus, obviously, we're anxiously watching the economy open up. I saw today where TSA statistics yesterday had about 300,000 people flying. It got as low as like 70 or 80,000 in late April, but 300,000 is a long way away from the 2 million Americans that typically fly during a business day. But it's good to see hotel occupancies starting to climb up from the bottom, and it's good to see people getting back out and traveling.
And, going back to looking at the Paycheck Protection Program, that is something that's really helped a lot of Arkansans and businesses.
Well, it certainly helped us get back to work. The PPP programs helped over 40,000 companies right here in Arkansas and over $3 billion. And I can't think of how much worse it would be if we hadn't protected jobs and protected those businesses with that investment. So that's key. Our banks are strong here and have a lot of capital. So we need to be able to support our small businesses as Arkansas opens back up.
When you look at the banking, that is something that Arkansans really were fortunate to have banks that stepped up so quickly and filled the gap immediately.
They really did. I mean, starting April 3rd, I know bankers who made the loans first thing on April 3rd, which was the first day of the Paycheck Protection Program. So proud of them stepping up and going to work. Millions of dollars were put immediately to work, and thousands of jobs were protected because of their effort.
And French, I know with your background with banking and the economy is something that you've really had your thumb on the pulse of this. And we see some good signs throughout the country and Arkansas.
We do. We see people going back out to eat, back on the road traveling, back in the air flying, and these are good starts. When I look at the unemployment statistics, a large portion of them are just folks who've been temporarily separated from their work, which means they can go back to work, go back to their benefits, and that's what I hope we start seeing in the month of June.
And also, when you look at the governor, we need to talk about the COVID. That's had a little spike, but we were talking before we went on the air. That's really in northwest Arkansas because they were slow to get the test going. So we knew this was coming.
And that testing, of course, indicates more positive cases. And we've seen a lot in our poultry plants in northwest Arkansas and in southwest Arkansas. And so our new cases seem to be more geared towards the northwest corner of the state and the southwest part of the state.
Well, we appreciate you taking time and talking with us. It looks like it's going to be a busy June for Congress for sure.
It will be. Always appreciate the chance to visit with you, and anytime I can be of help to somebody, I hope they'll reach out at hill.house.gov.